My name is Kasia and I watch Just Like That season 2 episodes so that you don't have to. You are very welcome. Although, if you are one of those people who only watch YouTube reviews instead of the actual show, might I suggest giving episode 3 a go? Because as crazy as it sounds, it has some lovely moments. Don't get me wrong, there are some truly confusing and frustrating scenes too, but for me, this episode feels pretty close to an old school Sex and the City show. The tone is familiar, the episode itself is oddly entertaining, the main plotline is very Carrie heavy, which I know some of you might not like, but this allows her character to grow and us to care more about her. Guys, there's even a theme that is pretty well explored through Carrie, Seema, Miranda, and Lisette. And yes, Lisette is back. Not my favorite character, but I will trade her for fewer storylines about the kids. So, let's get into the video. We meet Carrie on her way to the recording studio. She was asked by her publisher to record an audiobook of her memoir Loved and Lost, which apparently for Carrie is an embarrassing thing to do, but come on, Carrie. Even Prince Harry narrated his own book. You can do it too. Right off the bat, she's struggling with the correct pronunciation of the most basic words, which I get. As a non-native English speaker, I too often struggle with the pronunciation of the most random words when I record those videos. I'm also so jealous that Carrie doesn't have to edit the audio herself. Good for her. However, this recording session sequence quickly becomes extremely emotional as Carrie moves to read out loud chapter 3, which includes her possibly darkest memory ever, the memory of watching Big die. She starts to relieve her trauma. I think it's worth mentioning that this entire recording team was nothing but sweet and supportive of Carrie. They understood how emotionally difficult reading a book like this can be for anyone, and try to create a safe space for her. Still, as she starts to read about Big's last breaths, the text becomes blurry, we hear the sound of running shower, which gave me the chills. The camera uses the vertigo effect. Carrie has a full breakdown, and it's such a touching scene. Props to Sarah Jessica Parker for her amazing acting skills. She did an amazing job. Later that day, Carrie runs into the one and only Bitsy Von Muffling. At the very beginning of season 1, Bitsy revealed that her husband Bobby, whom she married in season 5 of Sex and the City, I think, is gone. Hence, Bitsy gets what Carrie is going through. She was arguably the best person Carrie could talk to in her very fragile state.
The second year is worse than the first. That's the dirty little secret nobody tells you.
This is when it clicked for me that this episode's theme is loss, the fear of losing something precious in our lives, how we deal with different kinds of losses, and how we are moving on from them. But it also got me thinking, why isn't Carrie in psychotherapy? Is she still not believing its legitimacy? Or at least, why doesn't she attend any grief support groups, as talking to someone who has been in her position is clearly beneficial for her? Bitsy advises Carrie to do whatever she normally does to make herself feel better, and boy oh boy, she takes that advice to heart. Now, I loved seeing old Carrie back, and I'm not talking about her being surrounded by this ridiculous amount of designer shoes she bought, even though I am obsessed with her Loewe balloon sandals. I am talking about her escaping her feelings instead of feeling them, which is a classic Carrie trait. It was very well established in the original show that for Carrie, retail therapy is an easy fix for her general unhappiness, hence the shopping spree, but her lying to her publisher about getting COVID, what I guess in her head gives her an easy way out of facing her emotions, is such a low moment for her, and I'm glad she made this choice. Hear me out. Until this point in the entire reboot, things just happened to Carrie. Big died, she lost her slot in Che's podcast because Che decided to move to LA, then Carrie lost her own podcast in the previous episode, right? It's not like she said, I'm done with reading those stupid ads or whatever, and so I quit. No, it just happened. Franklin was the one to break up their situationship. Like, seriously, the only decision Carrie made herself was to buy this apartment in season 1, and she only did it out of guilt, as Seema spent so much time hunting a perfect apartment for her. So Carrie was like, oh, okay, so I guess I'll buy it so I won't hurt Seema's feelings. So relatable. So finally, we see Carrie making choices. Messy choices, sure, but at least she starts to be on the right path to reclaim control over her own life. I also loved that this poor choice bites her in the ass eventually. Her actions aren't left without any consequences, as her publisher manages to get the recording studio for the next week, so she ends up reading the book anyway. Carrie learned that she can't keep escaping her emotions forever. She has to act like an adult and not like a teenager who fakes sick so that they can skip school. And she has to face her fears and feelings. And she did it with so much class. Meanwhile, Seema is being robbed Sex and the City style. Years ago, thieves were into Fendi baguettes and Manelos, now they target ostrich leather Birkin bags. Quiet luxury is truly in. Seema is devastated, as for her, this wasn't just a crazily expensive bag, it had a sentimental meaning too. She says she bought it so long ago that there wasn't even a wait list. I don't know much about Birkin bags, but I do know that even in 2001, Samantha had to pull a few strings to get a Birkin without waiting 3 years for it, so yeah, I guess it was a really old bag. A couple days later, Seema visits Carrie, who at the time was still faking sick. She quickly comes clean to Seema, they drink rosé in Carrie's apartment, which again felt like an old school Sex and the City scene.
Just crawl into that bed, lay down, pull the covers over your head, and you just feel whatever you need to feel.
I just want to hug her. She probably wouldn't let me, as I would wrinkle her beautiful silk outfits, but yeah, Seema is a badass, but she's also a very sincere person, a lot like Samantha, actually. Seema eventually finds her Birkin dumped on the street. I don't know in which world that would happen, but I'm happy for her. I like the tone of this lost bag plotline, as it was purely for comedic purpose. Like, we were never meant to feel sorry for Seema for losing such an expensive bag. But it tied nicely to the episode's theme, and it served as a throwback to the original series. Miranda's journey in this episode is about her choosing who's more important to her partner Che or her son Brady. So it all starts with this scene when Miranda and Che rehearse a scene for Che's sitcom. Che is anxious, they are under a lot of pressure, and Miranda struggles with her new smartphone as she lost her iPhone on the beach in the previous episode. Like, who would have thought that this will become relevant? And if you are wondering, what about Che's husband? How is Miranda dealing with that recent discovery about her partner's mysterious past? She was so worried that she doesn't know much about Che, so what's up with that? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but you guys just have to keep wondering. Che's husband wasn't even mentioned in this episode. Miranda and Che keep living their lives as if nothing has happened. Like, this is what's so frustrating about this show. The timeline is off, there is no continuity whatsoever. Anyway, we cut to the Che Pasa recording day. I have to admit that I screamed when I saw this Michael Patrick King coded showrunner of Che Pasa who gets moved by their own ideas, just like Michael Patrick King does on And Just Like That podcast. Like, this isn't a coincidence, and I love that he's not taking himself too seriously. Props for that self-awareness, and yeah, it was a great Easter egg for the hardcore podcast listeners. Meanwhile, Miranda picks up a call from Brady, who has been calling her repeatedly for at least a day, but again, Miranda's new smartphone has some notification malfunction. Brady's girlfriend, Luisa? Gosh, it's so hard to remember all those names. Broke up with him, he's devastated, he's heartbroken, and to Miranda, he sounds suicidal. Again, back to that theme of loss. Therefore, Miranda decides to bring her phone to the screening, even though that's forbidden as a phone ringing can potentially ruin a take. And it does, as Brady calls Miranda during a very emotional scene Che was so anxious about. This leads to this great scene between Che and Miranda where Miranda chooses her own son over anything and everyone, including Che. This week, Charlotte and Lisa Todd Wexley are dealing with the infamous MILF list that was teased in the Season 2 trailer. The plotline is quite self-explanatory. In the school that Charlotte's and Lisa's kids are attending, someone, possibly a student, made a MILF list of students' moms. So now Charlotte and Lisa are obsessed with finding out if they made it to the list, and I get it. As we age, whether we like it or not, it's nice to be assured from time to time that we still have it, whatever it is. And it's best to hear it from someone else than spouses, as they are no longer credible. So naturally, Lisa and Charlotte made it to the list as they're both gorgeous women. This scene cracked me up. Them pretending to not know about this whole situation was so funny. Plus, it's so great to see them as friends who just have a great time together. They make each other laugh, they're goofy and funny instead of that season 1 attitude of we exist simply to teach each other something about race. And once you know it, it turns out we are all the same. Like in that dinner scene, you know? However, what comes next is by far the most polarizing scene in this entire reboot, and I would encourage you to watch it first before forming any opinions. Still, I'm gonna paint the picture for you. So, in the school hallway, LTW, Charlotte, and other moms are sharing gossip about the possible creator of the list. And then this teenager, who might be behind it, walks in slow motion while He Be Like by Candyman plays in the background. All the mothers and other students are turning their heads. His name is Milo H, and one of the moms says that H stands for hot. End scene. From what I've gathered online, this scene is, extremely polarizing. For some people, it's hilarious and purely harmless. On the other spectrum, I've seen people saying that and just like that promotes the P word. I'm sorry I can't say it, but you know what I mean. The boy is a minor. And honestly, I am not sure how I feel about this. I think it's because for the first time, and then just like that, the writers wrote something that isn't 100% politically correct, which is exactly how Sex and the City oftentimes was. And we love this show for it. Also, isn't that why we miss Samantha? Again, I don't know. I don't have an opinion, I'm just asking. So let's have a discussion. Did the writers take it too far? And how this scene made you feel? Just please, let's be respectful of each other's opinions. Okay? Thanks. I'm not gonna lie to you, I really don't get this character. I mean, in season 1, she existed solely for Carrie to have this existential dilemma. Would she rather be young and clueless again, or would she stay herself with all her life experiences and wisdom? So I assume now the writers try to give Lisette more of an autonomous plotline, or do they? So we are told that Lisette has been christened with Bulgari's patronate. Congrats, bestie. She's organizing her jewelry presentation later that week, to which she invites Carrie. Carrie takes Seema to that jewelry party. However, it ends very quickly as one of the caterers robs the event and takes all the pieces Lisette has been working so hard to make. And here's the thing. What's up with this show and the characters not calling 911 or the police when they clearly should have? Because if this guy was indeed a caterer, wouldn't someone have his private information? So frustrating. Okay, let's rank this episode. And by the way, I've decided that instead of using a classic 10-star ranking system, I will be ranking, and just like that, episodes on a scale of 1 to 10 J.W. Anderson pigeon purses. Because here's the deal. This bag is such a conversation piece. Sometimes I feel like I get the hype. Other times I'm like, why this thing even exists? It's odd and campy and it confuses me just like this entire reboot. Therefore, I give this episode 6 pigeon purses. Am I generous? Maybe, but yeah, This episode is the highlight of And Just Like That. It felt like a warm blanket. SJB's acting was amazing. I loved the emotional stakes between Miranda and Shay, but then again, I'm not sure how I feel about that school scene, so yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you same time next week, okay? Bye!